Welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening to the Leftover Pizza Podcast.
Specifically, Leftover Pizza Bites, our monthly bite-sized episode. And boy, is that an appropriate name for this month, Grimey? I'm feeling a little hungry.
We're doing this one quite a bit different than our previous episodes, and we're diving into the world of fast food.
Okay, that's a little bit misleading because I feel like just about every show we talk about fast food in one way, shape, or form. So how is this one any different?
Perhaps they need more context. Okay, so listen. We've seen McDonald's Halloween pails for the past 3 years. We're now seeing Wendy's with their Frosty guys, which are pretty cool. We're also seeing stuff at Denny's and Burger King, and we're kind of asking ourselves the question, if we had the ability to either, one, collab with a restaurant, or two, have our own restaurant, what would our ideal Halloween meal look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think, a question that probably a lot of our listeners are asking themselves and daydreaming about on the way to or from work, because I don't know about you, but I feel like all I see is this forever war going on where it's people completely trashing the newest fast food collabs and then other people defending it. It's like, well, it's not for you. And it's like, well, I feel like it should be for me. I hate how the buckets look. You should love them just because they exist. So I feel like a lot of people out there have at one point or another, specifically recently, been asking themselves the same question. And I know I think about this way more than I should. So it seemed like an interesting opportunity. Yeah, what would a leftover pizza Halloween combo meal look like?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't please everyone, and hopefully we don't displease anyone with this episode. I think we cooked up some pretty awesome menu items here today, so what do you say we get to it?
We definitely did, and I'm ready to get to it. And one more thing to note before we dive right in. If you don't like it, I don't care. Make up your own. This is for me, goddammit, and Grimey too, I suppose.
So let's dive into the entrees first, shall we?
That sounds good. I'm gonna lead the way. I've got a nugget of an idea that I think that we should maybe roll with and see what we can come up with. So, my idea, Grimey, and tell me if you've heard this one before, are chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets? I only know about McNuggets, so...
Yeah, this is like a McNugget, but we're going to use real chicken this time.
Totally new concept.
And Grimey didn't edit that part out, so we are going to get sued by Ronald McDonald in the near future for me saying and claiming that it's not real chicken. Anyways, hey. But I propose not just any chicken nugget, Grimey. What I really want to see is chicken nuggets in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern. Is that too much to ask for at Halloween time?
So I'm curious, are we just doing the outside, or are we doing like the whole face and all that? What are the details on this?
I would like it to be as detailed as possible, if I'm being honest.
Nice.
I really want, and I want variations on the detail. So what I want is multiple different faces. Maybe I want a happy face with the single tooth. He looks like an idiot, kind of like a Patrick Star face.
Oh, yeah.
I want the classic evil pumpkin. Looks like he's ripped right off of the stump of the Headless Horseman's shoulders. Okay. And then I want, hey, I don't know, give me the Halloween pumpkin. The Halloween pumpkin.
Halloween pumpkin. I really like the squiggle face pumpkins nowadays. It kind of makes them look like they're sick or something. Yeah, I like those guys.
Yeah, give me one of those too. The sky's the limit here. I know most of these places cap off at like 4 or 5 shapes. What does McDonald's have? They've got that classic boot. They've got like an oval, and then, I don't know, 2 nondescript yet somehow molded chicken nugget shapes. I say give me 10, 12. I don't really care. Here's the thing. I don't know how industrial processes work, and I'm assuming that they only stick to like 4 or 5 shapes simply because it's really difficult and probably really expensive to make more.
Yeah.
But in this fictional scenario, I'm a trillionaire, okay? I'm doing this for the people. I'm actually losing money every time.
I was going to
sell
say,
a
you
nugget.
ain't even selling. You're selling, but not making any money. Well, yeah, that's absolutely respectable. You're a man of the people.
Terrible businessman, but a man who wants to make sure that you get shaped nuggets in your combo meal. And a plethora of shaped nuggets. You get a 10-piece, I want a different nugget on every single one of those pieces. I'm actually paying my people to sift through the already fried nuggets and get a different one for each of the 10 nuggets that you're getting through that drive-through. Yes, the line at the window is incredibly long, but you are getting an experience that you've never had before. Care being taken in your fast food order, Grimey.
That's right. Our workers' sweat and blood are going into these fucking chicken nuggets.
Literally. Go to the doctor after you eat it.
All right, so you got the chicken nuggies. What's going with them?
That's the biggest part. So I chose to not get too crazy. I feel like people don't want any specialty flavored nuggets. If anything, I'm saying flavor them like how I remember Burger King's nuggets tasting. I just mentioned it on a previous show, but little flecks of black pepper. I want that flavor profile.
Oh, yeah.
To go with it, your flavor is actually going to be coming with the dipping sauce. So with this combo meal, I'm proposing that you get, and no, I have not thought of a good name, so I'm open to suggestions. What's basically going to be a pumpkin aioli to dip these nuggies in. So I'm thinking a sauce, mayo-based, pumpkin puree in there, maybe a little lemon, a little garlic, and a little bit of cayenne for just a hint of heat. I feel like that would be really nice. So basically, think of a mac sauce, except the sweetness is coming from the pumpkin puree. So you're getting a nice orange-colored sauce, but it's got that little bit of seasonal alteration that's going to make this real nice on your palate.
Oh, nice. So it's kind of a twist on the Thousand Island. I'm thanking you right now, though, for clearing that up, because when you put mac sauce in your notes, I thought you meant like mac and cheese. It's like, wait a minute. This doesn't sound right.
No, sort of like Big Mac sauce.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. Okay. This is making more sense. I love it. I'm sure this would be really good.
I'm thinking it would be good, but it would be, a staple. This is not going to be what the foodies come for. This is like the option for the kids who are coming through the line, right? They want something that's familiar, that's fun. The thing that I'm going to get a little crazy with in my combo meal here, it's going to be the side. So, in addition, I think this dipping sauce would go really good with some pumpkin spiced sweet potato tots.
Man. This sounds pretty amazing, I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking almost have the vibe of Thanksgiving yams, sort of.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, that's exactly how this went down, because I got this idea in my head the other night, and I could not get it out of my head. So I actually specifically went out. I did find some sweet potato tots, which are great on their own. And I said, I have to do this. So I actually got out the pumpkin pie spice. I poured it into a bowl, and once my tots were ready, I tossed it in the pumpkin pie spice, and Grimey, holy shit.
Oh my god.
What a winner that was. I'm telling you, that's actually going to make it into my regular side dish rotation when I make dinner, because I couldn't believe how tasty it was. And that we've never actually seen it out, or at least I haven't, in any restaurants or chains around me.
Yeah. Man, that sounds cozy. I could see someone actually doing this as a casserole and bringing it to Christmas or Thanksgiving. But fuck that. You're getting it at a Leftover Pizza's restaurant.
That's right. It's perfect for a Halloween meal, right? We all love to make fun of pumpkin spice until we actually taste it. And we're like, oh, yeah. That's why
everybody
so
likes
popular.
it. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm hitting you with, the chicken nugget combo meal. I think, like I said, it's basic, but it's classic. And it's enough of a seasonal twist that it'll get asses in the seats. And people are going to want to have that as their entree. But I feel like you really need to knock it out of the park.
So I got to thinking the other day, Burger King has done so many different burgers, and like some of them are pretty weird, but they don't really push the limits, I feel like. And I think that's mostly what I want to see. And we're doing Halloween, so, you know, there's candy that's going to be involved. The fall flavors are obviously going to be there. So let's maybe go a direction. What they did that Frankenstein one, that it was like Nightmare King. Is that what it was? Yeah, that was cool. It was great to see all the meats in there, but like, let's go a sweet direction instead. I'm thinking we do a green brioche bun, either fried or grilled apple ring. Then we're going with some sweet salted caramel sauce drizzle, which is also going to be colored green. Applewood smoked bacon, maybe smoked Gouda. I don't know if it's necessary. Then the all beef patty. And we're calling it the Poison Apple Burger.
Poison Apple Burger. I like that name.
I hesitated for a second. I was like, Poison Apple doesn't always say good, friendly food and deliciousness, but I think it's cool. I mean, not to play up on Snow White or anything, but like, I kind of love the idea of it being maybe, you know, you go to Disneyland, you see them poison apples that everyone, the very iconic poison apple, like play up on that kind of.
Now, to be fair here, I'm shocked that this doesn't already exist at a Disney park in some capacity.
For real.
And I think that you just gave them $1 million idea. And here's the thing. This is going to sell like hotcakes at Disney, and therefore at our fictional restaurant, this combo is going to just do numbers. Not only because it's a cool idea, and people are going to be intrigued, like, caramel on a burger?
Right.
But because right now, I'm saying this live, you told me this idea the other night, and I actually took it upon myself to make it. And I have to tell you, it is so good. Like, it has no business being as good and as tasty as it actually is.
Yeah, man, you took it upon yourself. You really surprised me because you didn't waste like any time. It was within like 4 hours of our conversation. You're like, this is happening now. I have all the stuff here at my house for the most part. It's happening. And you sent me the picture. I was like, oh my God, he did it. Here it is.
I did a couple little spins on what you actually ended up with for your recipe, but I was going to be making burgers that evening anyways, and I said, screw it. I'm going to go crazy. I've got a caramel apple dip that's ready to go. All I did to that, just to, you know, cut a little bit of the sweetness, was I mixed in some cayenne just to bring a little bit of that heat, and that, for me, was a great move. But I tossed on bacon, just like you had suggested. I got an apple, I sliced it up really thin, and I hit it on the grill while I was grilling the burger. So the apple sort of cooked down, got soft, wilted a little bit, and then I finished it on top of the burger as I was grilling. So the apples actually soaked up a little bit of the burger juice and drippings.
Very nice.
So it was that nice, beautiful blend of savory and sweet there. And I had mentioned to you that this is what I was going to do because you weren't sure at this point how you were going to incorporate maybe like a little cinnamony flavor into the burger itself.
Right.
And I said, I've got the perfect thing. I've got this Ethiopian spice blend, which I think I've mentioned before, and I'm not sure, but I think it might actually even have been the spice blend used in a previous pick of ours, the McAfrica burger. And forgive me if I say it wrong, but I believe it's bear seasoning. But if you really look up how to make bear, or if you buy it, what's already in it, it's just got a lot of warming spices in it. So it's got, I believe, cardamom. I believe it's got some nutmeg. I don't remember if it actually has cinnamon or not. But I actually ended up mixing that into my ground beef mixture. And when all of those flavors came together on that bun, I was ashamed at how delicious it was. It is like you created the perfect state fair burger. It doesn't exist as far as I can tell, but I'm surprised it doesn't. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few years, the caramel apple burger became the staple of state fairs across the country, because it seems like too wild of a concoction that it doesn't already exist and that people would just flock to it because they had to know how caramel tastes on a hamburger.
Yeah. See, the idea, at first I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea to even bring to the table. I almost didn't mention it, but I thought back. And when I went to the Mahoning last year during this time, they were actually doing a hamburger for the Killer Clowns where they just plopped like a piece of cotton candy in it and they called it a cotton candy burger. They sold out. I mean, everybody ate them up. And I was like, well, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be one of them things, just like you mentioned, like, it's so weird that you have to know, is it good, is it bad? But little do they know, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be the most delectable fucking treat they've ever put in their mouths.
It really is. And so, unfortunately, I know that you haven't actually had the time to make yourself one. But as soon as I texted it to you the other night, I think the words that I wrote to you were, dude, second text, this has no right being as good as it is.
That's word for word, man.
And I think you're kind of jonesing to try one now.
Yeah, I am. I absolutely am. And there's going to be some different variations. I don't have the Bear seasoning here. I am going to have to order that for sure. The fried apple or grilled apple, I'm going to obviously try both because I love the taste of grill. It just is what it is. You know, it's a completely different taste than anything else. And then a fried apple, I was thinking like, well, you know, they do onion rings on hamburgers sometimes. So like, what if you did like a sweet battered apple ring? Ooh. And then deep fried it, threw some like cinnamon dust on that, and then threw the caramel on top. Like, there's just so many different ways that you can go about this. And if you're thinking like state fair kind of food, like that
would definitely
pushes
be
it even further.
For sure, absolutely, yeah, no, for sure. I don't think there's truly a wrong way to make this burger. I think just that basic layout that you have where it's got to have caramel, it's got to have apple, it's got to have bacon. Those three ingredients alone, there's enough there with your standard burger that flavor combo is going to work no matter how you hit it. Whether you fry the apples, whether you use the Bear seasoning, whether you actually just do a standard, you know, salt and pepper burger, or, you know, maybe a little bit of garlic and onion, however you typically do it. I think no matter how you hit it, it's going to be a tasty entree.
It will work out, I think. And obviously it has. You've approved, so.
I big time approve. And now I want to know, you've got this delectable burger that is going to be pulling people in off the street. What is going to be paired with that burger?
All right, so again, we're going in the sweet direction as opposed to just savory. I'm thinking we go for the fries here. And we're not doing regular old French fries, potato fries. Don't get me wrong. Love me some French fries, but we're gonna go a little different direction here. We're gonna go with some donut fries, and these are gonna be the long, thin type, and they're gonna be apple donut.
Oh, I didn't know you were going apple donut. Yeah. We're talking like a cider donut fry almost?
Yes, exactly. Apple cider donut fry, a nice little dusting of, I'm thinking probably the cinnamon sugar would benefit the most here. And then to go with that, I'm thinking like a caramel dipping sauce, but it's for the kids. So it's going to be Halloweeny. It's going to be green slime, similar to something you might have seen from Shrek.
Oh, yeah. See, this is what I love, is that every time I hear people talking about, you know, great fast food Halloween promotions, it's always like McDonald's is the king of the ring. And for me personally, and tonight for you, it seems like it's actually, food-wise at least, we're all heading in the Burger King direction. They knew what they were doing when it came to stuff like that. You know, we're still talking about a green dipping sauce how many years later? Probably close to 20. We do need to emulate that, I think, a little bit. It's just so fun and so crazy. Like, donut fries is already a crazy side. Like, I'm into it. I think that's a great twist on what you expect out of a combo meal. But tossing on that green slime sauce to go with it, beautiful play.
It does feel very BK, doesn't it? Like, once they got rid of the toys, I can't remember exactly which year it was, but once they did away with them, like, they didn't really lose their playfulness. They just decided to keep going with it. It's commendable, man. I mean, you know, we do wait around for our Mountain Dew Voodoo. We wait around for the cool new Kit Kat or whatever. Yeah, we got the Boo Buckets and stuff, but I feel like other people in the back of their minds, like, what weird fucking concoction is Burger King gonna do this year? And that's really, I feel like, where this meal kind of draws a lot of inspiration from.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it might not be anybody's favorite fast food restaurant in terms of food, but in terms of memorable stunts, I feel like Burger King is the reigning champ. And I feel like it's only right for you and I to sort of emulate that a little bit, at least when it comes to the food. So I'm a big fan of your entree. I think mine, like I said, it's pretty vanilla. It's a little fun just because of the shape, but I feel like it's a classic combination, you know?
It really
you got to
is,
offer
man.
a nugget meal, you have to offer a burger meal, but either way, there's enough of a spin on both that it's really going to turn heads and it would make people go, huh, I want to try each one of those. I need to know what that pumpkin aioli is all about, and I have to try that caramel apple burger, if not only for the burger, for some friggin' donut fries to go along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's no weak spot in this lineup so far. So, interested to see what happens in the dessert hall.
Ooh, all right. A little sweet treat. Is that what's up next, do you think?
I think so.
All right, so mine is definitely sweet, Grimey. I don't know if people nowadays would consider it a treat. I decided that whatever restaurant that we're building this in, we've got our own Coke freestyle machine to play around with. Because if you've noticed, a lot of movies nowadays will get their own special Coke freestyle flavors.
I know it, and like I'm so jealous because I don't have any movie theaters like right next to me that have these freestyle machines. We have, what is it, Burger King? Does they have it, I believe, and Wendy's has it, but like we don't get any of the cool movie and like film tie-in stuff. So yeah, ours is gonna definitely have it.
Oh, it's gonna have it for sure. I'm lucky enough that I do have a theater that gets all of the special Coke mixes. So for Beetlejuice, we just had a special Beetlejuice, like grape flavored. I don't even think it was Fanta. I don't even know
Sprite.
what it was. Was it Sprite?
Yeah, it was like some grape thing for Sprite. They like put it in there. I don't know.
Yeah, some Beetlejuice grape flavored thing. And then, you know, not too long ago, well, pretty long ago now, there was some Top Gun flavor that came out.
I do remember
Yeah, they get all the fun, weird ones that you're only ever going to see in a Coke freestyle machine. So playing off of that, I said, okay, well, it might not be a dessert, but if I had to design my own soda for this meal, what would I do? And so I started thinking, because this is a fantasy world, we can do whatever we want. All collaborations are on the table. So if I could pick any property, anywhere, anytime to use and to create something off of, what would I pick? So I started thinking about my favorite Halloween specials. And of course, I landed on Disney's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, yeah.
If you watch that, you'll know that a common theme is that because this was the 40s and they didn't give a crap if kids saw characters partaking in bad vices, they're drinking beer a lot throughout that special. Specifically, Brom Bones and his ragtag group of buddies.
And don't they make it look so good, too? It's like always frothy and bubbly, and you're like, I bet that tastes delicious.
Uh-huh. And as a kid, all you have to compare the idea of what beer should taste like is root beer, you know? And then when you finally try your first beer as an adult, you're like, this is nothing like root beer. There's no sweetness. The foam is kind of gross comparatively. Man, I really wish I was just drinking an ice cold frosty mug. Don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I always compared it to cream soda. I was like, oh, that's just cream soda, right?
Yeah, exactly. So playing off that idea, I said, okay, I think that I would want to create what I'm calling Bones Brew. So it would be Brom Bones's beer, but it would be a root beer. And I know you might be thinking to yourself, Well, that sounds pretty plain. Why am I going to pick Bones Brew over something like an A&W, a Mug, a Barks, anything that I already know? And I'll tell you why. So, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, as you know, we've talked about it before, it is one of the most autumnal pieces of art and media that I've ever seen. And to me, what goes hand in hand with fall and with beer but Oktoberfest? So, as an adult, one of my favorite beverages that I wait all year for is, I'm not going to play favorites, just any Oktoberfest style beer. I just love how sort of weedy and bready and just delicious it is.
Oh, yeah. They're very distinct from any other beers out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no sommelier. I really can't describe it. When it comes to alcohol, I have a hard time saying anything other than, it's good, I like it. But I'm doing my best here, so stick with me. Yeah, it's got that very distinct flavor and look about it. Most of the ones that I like, they've got that beautiful dark amber color. So I think Bones Brew should be a play on an Oktoberfest beer, but in root beer form. So more or less, I think the thing that I would change most about it would be I want it to have that beautiful amber color to it. It's just enough of a difference that it's going to make you look at it and say, okay, this is something special. It's not like a typical dark root beer. It's got that orangey tint that's very autumnal and Halloweeny feeling.
Yeah, and certainly nothing you can get into the stores. You have to come directly to this place who's got it. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And on top of that, Grimey, I think the flavor that I'm going to impart here is I'm going to add some malted undertones just to give it a little bit of that bready, pretzel-y flavor. So it's just different enough that you can say, okay, this is a spin on root beer. It still tastes like root beer, but it looks like a beer, and it kind of has this Oktoberfest-y taste to it. And I think that's going to pair really nicely with your caramel apple burger or my pumpkin chicken nuggets. I think it's just a nice, probably inoffensive flavor that's unique. And on top of it, I get to put a picture of Brom Bones on the Coke Freestyle machine. And that to me just seems like a win.
I dig it. All right, so I had a hell of a time coming up with some sweets, and not because I couldn't figure out one, but because I couldn't stick with just one.
Classic Grimey. Maximalist behavior is what that is.
It really is, yeah. Like, if I had a genie, I would be wishing for, more wishes, please. That's just the type of person I am. So my first one, I have 3 different ones that I've got here. The first one, I was thinking on the trick-or-treat side, I don't know if anyone's ever done something like this before. I'm thinking kind of like a Blizzard or a McFlurry, that kind of dessert style. I don't really know what else you would call it. There's a place that's right down the street here that used to exist. They used to call them tornadoes. So whatever you want to call it, it's one of those. So it's going to be vanilla base. We're going to blend that with a mix of popular Halloween candies. So like think chopped up Snickers bars or Reese's cups, maybe M&Ms, or even like a Butterfinger, all the different things that you might find in your Halloween haul. And then you top that with whipped cream and maybe candy corn shavings, just to fancy it up a little.
You kind of lost me at the candy corn shavings, but everything else sounds pretty good. Here's an alternate pitch. You could do 2 different ice creams. That's the good one for the people that you love. And then for the people that you hate, it could be all of the worst Halloween candies.
All the worst ones?
Your Mary Janes, your Necco wafers, your mallow cream pumpkins, depending on who you are as a person.
Circus peanuts.
And then just circus. Well, hey now. Love a circus peanut. Okay.
Yeah, I do too. I feel like more people often than not despise them, but I like me a circus peanut, so I throw me that.
Yeah. Blend all that together, and then you hand it to the kid that you don't like, the middle child in your family. You say, here you go. Got you a sweet treat, and it's just the worst that they've ever had.
Or how about, oops, all zombie Skittles.
And only the flesh-flavored ones. We've
Exactly.
hand-picked through. Remember, money is no expense, so I had my workers pick through and test all of the Skittles all day, 24 hours a day, to find just the flesh-flavored ones.
So that's the first one, and I think we're either going to call it the trick-or-treat thing, trick-or-treat dessert. we'll just to keep it simple, we're just going to go with Blizzard, all right? We'll steal Dairy Queen's terms, and we'll call it a Blizzard. So the Halloween Hall Blizzard dessert.
Yes, frozen dairy, hydrogenated soy oil, spun whipped dessert.
Yes. To keep it simple. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Then I think that this would hit pretty well, honestly. And I'm thinking, let's go the cereal monsters direction. When's the last time you've seen a fast food restaurant pay homage to the cereal monsters? You know, like that's something that I think would hit really, really well. They've now made it into yogurt twice in a row. We've seen them on cookies. We've seen them in different cereals and having their own little spin-off cereals now. I think it's time that they jumped into the fast food world. So I'm pitching, now that there's 6 of them, they each get their own milkshake.
Oh, okay. So, do you remember at all last year, it was on the Patreon. And I think now that it no longer exists, I will make an effort to port it over to the site. So by the time that you're listening to this, check leftoverpizzaclub.com. You can read my article that used to be paid and now it's free about how I made my very own Fruit Brute flavored ice cream. I soaked the cereal in milk and then used that as my ice cream base before I mixed in some cereal pieces to turn it into like a blizzard. And I have to say, it was one of the better ice creams that I've made. I've got that Ninja Creamy machine. And I can see this really working well as a milkshake. I would definitely get one. And I would probably have it more often if I didn't have to go through the trouble of making my own ice cream to get that flavor profile.
It's funny that you brought it up because that is actually where I got the idea for this. I remember back. I was like, I couldn't remember if you did it with Carmela Creeper or if it was Fruit Brute. But that, yeah, definitely the Fruit Brute one. Definitely recall that, and that's exactly where I got this idea from. I think it would be pretty simple. I mean, you know, they all have their own flavor profile. It would be fun because there's 6 of them. I mean, and I don't think it would be all that hard to do. They probably just have like vanilla ice cream, and then, with the exception of Count Chocula, he gets the chocolate base. But just you have mix-ins, and that's pretty much that. I mean, you know, maybe a flavor mix-in of some sort. So it shouldn't be all that difficult to have all 6, especially if we're trillionaires. Who cares?
Yeah, we're trillionaires. We got money to burn and make the greatest cereal monster milkshake that we could ever possibly make and lose money while doing it.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, this would give a person a reason to come back, you know, 5 or 6 times. Like, well, I tried this one the last time. It's like the Boo Buckets. Like, I got this one this time. So now I got to go back and try this one, try to get this one. So same concept. But yeah, I think it'd be really, really cool if cereal monsters could make the leap into the fast food industry. That's number 2.
Okay.
Number 3 here, I actually kept a secret from Derek, and it's not something that I feel like couldn't happen, especially if you have like a Coca-Cola Freestyle machine. I think this is something that could definitely work in something like that. I'm proposing a Kool-Aid drink.
Oh my God. It would be just like Burger King with the scary black cherry.
Ayo, he's got it. Seriously.
I know exactly where you're going with that. Of course I did.
Yeah,
are
buddy.
you kidding me? For sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, either a frozen drink or like a slushie of some sort. It's very similar to our friends at BK who did the Simpsons. What was that? The black cherry drink? Yeah, man. Like,
yeah. I love it, actually. That's great. I was a little hesitant that you were bringing 3 sweet treats to the table, but I have to say, they're all kind of necessary, and I feel like they're all very doable. I don't think that it's asking too much to do every single one of those, because all you're doing is just introducing a couple ingredients to each thing that already exists in the restaurant. If we do the frozen drink version of the Kool-Aid, the frozen Kool-Aid, we're just swapping out the standard whatever it is. I don't know. Is it like a blue raspberry or a cherry that they normally offer? You're just subbing that out for the month with a Kool-Aid variation of it. I love that. I think that's a great idea for sure. I could back all three.
And then if we're talking in terms of Coca-Cola Freestyle, imagine like a Kool-Aid Sprite. We had the Beetlejuice thing. This could be similar to something like that. I mean, I could see all the different applications here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think, now that we're talking, money's no object, Grimey. I want specialty collector's cups for the Cereal Monster milkshakes, and I want specialty Kool-Aid collector's cups specifically for the Kool-Aid. So I'm asking for 3 collector's cups, because fuck it. I want my Bones Brew to have some Headless Horseman imagery on a collector cup too.
Seriously though.
So, yeah, we're going big with this one. You got 2 different meals, these special sides. You got, what did we just list? 3 desserts, or 2 desserts, and then 2 different style drinks. 3 collector's cups. We're going big on this one. We are losing so much money, Grimey.
It's all in the benefit of the people, That's all we care about. The happy smiles on the children's faces.
Man, this is shaping up to be one of the greatest fast food promotions of all time.
Yeah. And you guys didn't think we could pull nostalgia into this episode. I think we covered it. I think you can allow us to have this one.
Yeah. So far. You just wait.
Speaking of which,
the finale is gonna be big.
Well, let's get into it. So up next, we'll have the toys.
All right, so no fast food combo meal is complete without toys, Grimey. And I know that this is what you've been foaming at the mouth to get to. I mean, food is fun, dessert is great, but you're a toy collector through and through, so you must be having a head full of ideas, just brimming with possibilities right now.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing that hits like a toy at a fast food restaurant, especially during the Halloween season. I mean, we have gone cuckoo for just about everything McDonald's has brought to the table back in the day. And we still collectively do that now. Even if it's not our favorite, there's still people out there buying them. They're selling out. It only makes so much sense. We need a toy. So what is your toy proposal?
Well, eagle-eared listeners, which is literally everybody, might have picked up on a little foreshadowing in my toy line here when I mentioned in our second part about sweet treats how I wanted Bones Brew, and I was talking about Brom Bones. On its own, that seems like a weird pick. Why is he only going after Brom Bones? Well, he's not. That's my tie-in, my whole combo meal. I said, you know what? We've never seen a Legend of Sleepy Hollow anything, really. I mean, recently we've gotten things here and there. They've started embracing it more. You know, there was a board game a couple of years ago. There's always expensive collector's pieces that Disney puts out. We've never seen a toy line that's in the accessible price range, shall I say. And we've certainly never seen one from a fast food restaurant where the toys are free with the purchase of food that's already banging. So my proposal is Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I've got 4 toys lined up here, and quite frankly, I think I nailed it. Every single one of these toys. So let me run through these, and you tell me if this sounds like an interesting toy line and if you would try to collect all 4.
Okay.
So the first toy in my toy line that I decided to set up, there's a shot in the film, one of the most iconic shots, of an evil tree. So Ichabod, after the Halloween party, is spooked because he's just been told the legend of the Headless Horseman by Brom Bones, and so that's all that's on his mind now. He's worried that he's going to run into the Headless Horseman when he's riding home on his horse, and we get to this striking image that scared probably every kid that's ever watched this special. It's this evil, spooky tree. It's this beautiful, old, oil-painted background. The tree, it looks kind of like a Grim Reaper. It's got the cloaked, hooded look, two scary arms sticking out, and two glowing yellow eyes before the scene progresses, and it's revealed that it's just a normal tree and two fireflies that are stuck inside of one of the knots of the tree. But it gives Ichabod, and then the viewer, a little spook and a little fright. So, I think my first toy would be of this evil tree, and it would just be a simple static prop. The arms, maybe you could make them move a little bit, just up and down, but really, just turn it on and off, a button in the back, it would just light up the yellow glowing eyes.
Okay, I love that. I'm looking at the picture now, and he kind of looks like one of the Dementors from Harry Potter, so I'm all for it. I love this. It's a good start.
Good start. So I mean, that one's a for me sort of toy. I always just loved how it looked. So I would love to have this sitting on my desk every Halloween. You know?
I like the addition of the light up eyes. I feel like that's a really fun feature. You know, I know that the Simpsons, they did their spooky light ups and stuff like that. I just think it's a nice way to elevate a toy, especially a Halloween one.
Absolutely. So it doesn't do much, but it looks cool and it has some interactivity. So I feel like that's a good start. The second is, now I said, okay, we need to start incorporating some characters from this. What's the best way to do that? So there's the standard and fairly boring way, which is just making one-to-one adaptations of the characters in the movie, right? In their standard street clothes, and they're just really basic action figures. Nobody wants that. So I started thinking back, and there's the scene, the Halloween night ball, where Ichabod is dancing with Katrina Von Castle, and Brom is very unhappy, and he's trying to steal her away from Ichabod. So he keeps trying to set Ichabod up. I found out today that her name is Tilda, with this woman Tilda. She's the short, stocky little woman who's giggly and very excited just to be dancing with anybody.
Yeah.
And it makes for a great scene where Brom keeps getting stuck dancing with her, and she does not want to let him go. She loves him, and he is trying everything that he can to get rid of her.
Yeah, awesome scene. One of my favorites. Very goofy scene.
And so I started thinking, I said, well, I would love to have that adapted into a toy. How would you do it? So I said, all right, well, they could be static, sculpted pieces, her just hugging the crap out of him. And then I think it would need to be one of two things. Either a standard wind-up toy, where they just start rocking around and bopping up and down, giving the illusion that they're dancing. Or it could be on wheels with the spinning feature. So when you push it back and forth, kind of like a car, we've seen it in hundreds of fast food toys now, they would spin around and also give the illusion like they're dancing. So the faster you pushed it back and forth, the faster they would spin.
Oh, yeah.
The crazier it looks like they're dancing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, I believe it was Looney Tunes that had the Tasmanian Devil one, where you kind of roll it and it spins, the little tornado. Yeah, man, I could see that working pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that would be a fun one, and it's a little bit deeper than just a regular action figure of a character. So that could be fun. My third one that I would do, now this one, I think it's my second favorite that I came up with, just because of how it ties itself into the movie. So earlier I mentioned Ichabod in that scene. He's really scared. He's waltzing through the forest on his horse, who couldn't give less of a shit, by the way. And he's so scared that he's whistling to himself to keep his mind off of the fact that he's worried about running into the Headless Horseman. And it's one of the funniest scenes, just because of the faces that he makes while he's whistling to himself.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, well, what I think you could do, and we haven't seen these in a while, but I remember there being a few different versions of this when I was a kid, sculpt Ichabod's face, sculpt his head. So it's just a full 3D version of his head and hat, and it looks like he's whistling, and then just stick a whistle on the back of it. So just blow into it, you make Ichabod whistle.
Awesome. Yeah, this to me feels very Burger King Kids Club. It always felt like there was a toy that you could do something with. It's not just a toy, but like it has, like this is a whistle, or like this is something that you could put on your bike, or, you know, just something really cool like that. It's more of like an extension of the toy.
It had a purpose, and it wasn't just a toy, right?
Right, yeah.
It was like an activity almost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know whistling is probably everybody's least favorite activity, you know, adults having to listen to kids whistle. But for a kid, that would be an activity, technically.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And so that's my third, and here's my fourth and final toy in this line. We have to give the people what they want. The most famous scene is Ichabod being chased by the Headless Horseman. So we can't ignore that. I am going to be so shameless here and just let you know that going back to last month's Leftover Pizza Bites, we were talking about the Scooby-Doo Alien Invader toys. And you mentioned that one of your favorites in that line was the one that's almost like a tree. It's big, and it has Scooby and Shaggy and an alien ship in the middle. You push a button in and out, and it just spins them around and around and around. And it looks like they're kind of being chased, or they're chasing each other. All I want to do is take that exact mechanic and apply it to this scene. So you've got Ichabod holding on to the front of his horse, looking back at the Headless Horseman, who's behind him. He's got his pumpkin in one hand and his knife in the other. And when you push that little lever, they just chase each other around and around and around. And that's it. Because you can't have a Legend of Sleepy Hollow toy line without at least one representation of the Headless Horseman. And I think that's probably the best way to implement it.
Yeah, man, that's a lineup right there. I have to say, I think my favorite is going to be the final one. That one's just speaks to me. I'm going to assume it's probably going to be the biggest toy too. So like you said, you want that chase scene. That's what you're trying to sell here. And this, I feel like, is the best way to accomplish that. I mean, what other way are you really going to get this across? I was at first thinking to myself, what if it was one of those like pull string kind of things where like maybe you pull Ichabod and he's attached to string, and then like the Headless Horseman kind of follows the string up to him. I thought about that, but like I kind of love this a lot more.
I thought about that too. And again, it was because that Scooby-Doo line was fresh in my mind. And then I remembered actually watching how those string toys work. And they're kind of clunky.
A little bit,
so I was like, well, let's get rid of that clunky factor. Let's make something that's big and beautiful and that you want sitting on your desk or on your shelf at Halloween time. You know, you're still going to know that it's a fast food toy, but it's giving you that scene that every fan of this movie wants. And they want something that's, you know, that moves and they chase each other, and I don't know. I think it could be really good. It's probably my favorite of the bunch too.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Solid lineup. I love all these toys. I wish I had them all here right now, but they don't exist, unfortunately. Someone make this happen.
Unfortunately. Yeah, somebody please. Now that I've done the work of creating a whole toy line, I want to see this in person.
Very nice.
All right, so that's it. That's my Legend of Sleepy Hollow toy line, and I guess my combo meal with the Bones Brew. But I want to know what you have in store for me, because I feel like you, the toy man, you've got something really good up your sleeves right now.
So I'll say up front, they're not near as cool as yours.
No.
This is definitely mine are going to be more about the art and the style here, similar to how the Frightful Frosties from the Boo books at Wendy's is. It's more just like a static toy. They're collectible. It's not really a mystery package, but it kind of is. And there's chase figures and stuff. I could see that being implemented with my lineup here. So first and foremost, I just want to say this is a huge shout out to Chris Ramo. You can find him at Plastic Vampire Art on Instagram. He is a really cool dude. He just did a collab with an awesome design with the Results. on a t-shirt. It looks really awesome. Very cool Halloween-y t-shirt. He does a lot of really fun Halloween designs on his Instagram. He also happens to be a senior designer at NECA. So shout out to you, Chris. Awesome dude. I'd like to say that, one, he's going to design all the packaging for my specific meal. And two, he's going to do all the artwork for these figures. My first lineup here, because we talked a little bit cereal monsters earlier, I think that would be really cool to do some kind of figure for the cereal monsters. Not something like they did last year, like the cereal box stuff, where you put like your proof of purchase in and they give you these little, it's just like a single color. It's not even a figure. It's just like, it kind of looks like a piece.
Board game pieces, really.
That's exactly. I was going to say like Candyland. It's very Candyland-esque.
Yes.
Which is cool. It's fun, but I think we're going to go a little more on the articulated side here and at least have a little bit of coloring and a little bit of movability. Something, like I said, something like the Frightful Frosties. So we would have one of each of the 6. Maybe a chase figure. I could see that where they're slightly different color, or maybe they have a different face.
Maybe even the pets, perhaps. That could be the 7th.
Ooh, the Frightful Friends. Is that what they were called?
Yeah. I think that could be cool. A 7th.
I could see that.
Where it's all of the pets on one, it's just a static, almost little sculpture. But that could be cool,
Could be fun. I could see that. I'm seeing another vision here for these guys. So, what, the last 2 years, we got the Monster Mash cereal, and we see them all with their instruments and shit. What if it was a build-a-set? And we were building this little diorama with them all in it. It would kind of be like a spooky light up almost, but like a connecting kind of piece.
So what I'm thinking, building on that, because I think this is a great direction to go in. Think of the old Space Jam toys, how they kind of fit into each other like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
And once you complete the set, they all kind of start jamming out together. And maybe there's even a way that, we can push a button, they all sync up, and they all play the Monster Mash, like in that short that they released for the 50th anniversary.
That would be great. Yeah.
We're onto something there. That would be a great set to collect. That gives you a reason to have all of them.
Hell yeah. I'm not going to lie. We just pulled this one right out of our asses right this second.
Right now. And I kind of love it. That's a great toy tie-in.
So that's the first idea.
Okay.
The second one, talking Kool-Aid earlier. If you're a fan of Kool-Aid, you know the magnitude of activities and extracurricular stuff this guy has done. If you have seen the packets before, you know all his little buddies are going to be there. And they're going to be either hanging out on the beach, or they're going to be climbing mountains, or what have you. The Kool-Aid Man has all of the careers, more than any one single human being should have. So I'm thinking we go the Halloween route with all this. We have the Kool-Aid version of Kool-Aid Man. I'm thinking go wild with it. Like, bring back characters like Purple Source Rex in a Halloween costume. Or like Pink Flamingo in a floaty or something, a Halloween floaty. Like, just really play up on the Halloween stuff here.
I think there's a lot there that you could certainly work with. And that would be super cool. But even so, you could have just multiple versions of the Kool-Aid Man. So you've got the standard where he's in his Dracula cape, right? And then we also have the Scary Berry where he's now as a witch. And on the back of the Scary Berry, there's a Franken Kool-Aid. So we could have a third one where it's just him as Frankenstein.
Man.
I see it. We could have multiple Kool-Aid men, and we could bring back, like you said, those side characters, and they're all in Halloween garb, It could be pretty funny. We could have Sharkleberry, dressed up as a non-shark. Like, just pick any other sea creature. He's dressed up like an octopus or something like that, That could certainly be pretty fun. There's a lot of ways that you could go with that.
What if Sharkleberry was dressed up like the Great Blue Dini?
Hey, now there you go. They're just dressing up as each other. Yeah, meta.
That would be interesting.
There's so many cool ways that you could go about it, both with stuff that they've already given us that's already quote unquote canon, and just making new stuff for the fast food combo as well. I like it. I think that's a cool idea as well.
Hell yeah, man. Okay, man. Well, that's it for the toys. I think that's a pretty solid lineup.
Yeah, I think we might have gone a little bit above and beyond at the idea of a leftover pizza combo meal, because we didn't just make one, we made like a whole menu, like a restaurant's worth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, McDonald's Boo Pails will be out soon. I think the Frightful Frosties are still ongoing until November. So go to one of them places, because you aren't going to find our awesome meals anywhere except for this podcast.
Yeah, not unless we can get Chris to pull some strings and actually, well, we could do the cooking. He could do the toy production. And all it would take is $10,000 from each one of you listeners to be able to buy one single meal, because I'm sure that's as cheap as it's getting for us to make it all.
Absolutely. Yeah, the leftover pizza spooky food truck. That's what it is. We'll be traveling around probably, and not far, but yeah, catch us in it.
Yeah, it's like our Dracula, except it doesn't work. We can't afford the gas. We burn every meal that we cook out of it. But dang it, we have fun.
This was a lot of fun. This actually kind of feels like sort of a sequel to our, what was that show we did? The Halloween Things That Don't Exist?
It kind of does. And I know that we're calling this a Bites episode, Grimey, but I think you and I both talked way longer than we anticipated on talking. So that's our gift to all of you listening, is you probably got closer to a full episode than we realized at the start of this.
Listen, you put two very passionate foodies on an episode together about food, and we're going to talk your ears off. But that is all the time we have for this episode. And as always, I'd like to thank you all for listening and tuning in.
And while this show may be over, the fun is just beginning. Head over to our Facebook group, The Leftover Pizza Club, and join in on the discussion.
We post a discussion thread for each new episode, so you can chime in with other listeners and talk about your favorite episodes, bits, and picks.
Or, hey, you can even tear us a new one.
As long as it's constructive and civil, it's fair game.
And if you just can't get enough of us, you can always check us out on Instagram and Threads at Leftover Pizza Podcast. And you can find us on Twitter or X at Leftover Pizza Club. That's LFTOVR Pizza Club.
And also, if you're looking to do some reading, you can always check out our blog, leftoverpizzaclub.com. We got the Halloween celebration going on up there right now, so check that out.
Yeah, lots of good reading. And lastly, wherever you're listening to us, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. All that stuff helps us a great deal, and we appreciate it very, very much.
Very, very much. And I don't know about you, but I am kind of hungry.
Yeah, I think it's just about dinner time for me. So I was going to go cook something nice and healthy, but I think another caramel apple burger is in my future. And then right after that, a trip to the ER, I'm sure.
Just one? Just one?
Hey, it depends on how many I just choose to eat.
Thanks for listening. Have a good one. And until next time, stay spooky.
And boy, wait till you see what we have for you in October. You thought this was fun? Just wait.
Oh, it's going to get wild. So stay tuned.
We're gonna walk inside and guess what's up? Put the food on my plate and some coke in my cup. Give me some chicken, fake survives, living past me and lettuce, I'm a passing by. So keep shoveling onto my plate. You give me some sweets and a lot of cake. Give me some hot